Something that's increasingly bothered me in recent years is the way in which companies and brands have embraced postmodern woke ideology and made it very clear that they hate the Christian values that I personally hold to. So I believe that faith in Jesus is by far the most important thing in life, both for the individual and for the nation as a whole. And that's what this photo up here on the wall is all about. I believe that family and traditional values are the best foundations upon which to build a happy, healthy, prosperous society. This is so self-evident. And I also believe that freedom is non-negotiable. Human beings were born to live free and to stay free, which is what that photo is all about. However, brands have consistently begun to oppose all of these values quite openly, whether it be Nike and Adidas making gay pride sneakers and using men to model women's clothing, whether it be supermarkets celebrating gay pride and donating vast sums to gay charities, whether it be brands running adverts that promote homosexuality. Coca-Cola have done this, Starbucks, Paddy Power, Nescafe, McCain oven chips have done this, you name it. Whether it be Disney slipping ideology into their movies and letting it be known they now hate Western culture and traditional family values, whether it be broadband providers, the list just goes on and on and on. It just seems like every company and every brand has now been infiltrated by this ideology. Now, the first thought that comes into my head is, I wish I didn't have to give my money to people who actively hate me and who hate my values. I wish I had some other options here. But then inevitably I'll look around and see there aren't any other options. Wherever you turn, whatever you want to spend your money on, everything seems to have been captured by the ideology. Now, for these reasons, I can't help but think there's a tremendous opportunity right now for entrepreneurs. I think if those alternatives existed, hundreds of millions of people would feel like me, and they would want to buy the alternatives, because it's not just Christians who are tired of the woke ideology. There's a lot of people who are just conservatives who just believe in traditional values, who would want to boycott all of this woke stuff if only they had these other options. So I think what we need is almost an alternative economy, a parallel economy, if you will, so that whether we want sneakers, drinks, movies, groceries, broadband, whatever it may be, we would have this other viable place to go. I was watching an interview with Ben Shapiro recently. I've got a cold right now. Hopefully it's not too noticeable and it's not too gross, but I couldn't sleep a few nights ago, so I went onto YouTube and this video popped up where Ben Shapiro was talking about the Daily Wire's version of Snow White. So Disney are planning to release their controversial woke version next year, I think it is, which will undercut all of the values of the original. So the Daily Wire are making an alternative version which is true to the original, and they're going to adjust the release date so that it goes head to head with Disney's to give people this option. Which one do you want to watch? And I think that's what people need. We need to give people a choice. You can watch the woke version if you want, that still exists, or you can watch this wholesome version. Give people options and see which one they choose. I think what we've seen is that since Disney went woke with their movies, with the Star Wars universe and with the Marvel universe in particular, the movies have absolutely tanked. People just don't want to see this stuff. Disney have lost hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, it's probably gone into the billions of dollars by now pursuing this agenda, which is good. That tells us that people are generally tired of the woke agenda, not just Christians, but now the plan should be for other companies to step into the void vacated by the big players and offer these alternatives. The Daily Wire are doing it with the movies and I think with kids' TV shows, but we need this across the board, I think, or at least it would be good if we did have this across the board. Now, someone that's taken a lead in this is Jonathan Isaac, the American basketball player. Jonathan is an unashamed Christian who gained a lot of prominence in 2020 when he was the only one in the Orlando Magic team who remained standing for the American national anthem when everyone else was kneeling for Black Lives Matter. Now, I regard Jonathan as something of a friend of the Fuel Project. He gave this ministry a shout out on Twitter a few years ago. He watches the videos. We've had some brief conversations. I found him to be a very principled, courageous, a good guy, just a very solid Christian. The peer pressure he must have been under to kneel must have been absolutely huge. He had the eyes of the nation on him and then the eyes of the world, and yet he stayed standing. That is integrity. That is courage. And recently, Jonathan launched a sportswear brand called Unitus, which is specifically designed to give people an alternative to the likes of Nike and Adidas. This is what Jonathan said about his motivation.
I believe that values matter, and in today's day, when we do give our money to companies that don't support our values, we're co-signing their message. So what I wanted to do was give Americans, freedom-loving Americans, faith-loving Americans, the option to buy with their values.
What is that message? If we wanted to buy your products, what are we buying into?
You're buying into a company that stands for faith, family, and freedom, and it's going to work to bolster those values and give you merch that supports those values and creates this community of people who want to come together and see these values celebrated in the marketplace and culture.
Because Jonathan's publicly given the Fuel Project a shout out in the past, I just want to try and support him as much as I can as well in my own small way to help raise awareness of what he's doing, his brand, this endeavor, and what he stands for. And I tend to have reservations about doing this in general because the risk is that you can recommend someone and then further down the line they take a left turn and then it reflects badly on you for having recommended them. However, I can say I've got no hesitation at all in recommending Jonathan's character. I just believe he's a really solid, good Christian guy. I fully support him. So if you need new sportswear, consider supporting his brand instead of the usuals. They're just getting started, but I checked with him last week and they ship worldwide. So wherever you're watching this, it's available at weareunitus.com. And hopefully this is the beginning of something huge for Unitus. I just like to see people who are taking a risk for God's kingdom getting rewarded. So this is a leap of faith, and I hope it works out for Jonathan and for his brand. And in that vein, I've decided to add a page to the Fuel Project website, and on it, I want to make a list of companies like this who support the values of faith, family, and freedom. So if you have a company or a brand that you would like to be on that list, or if you know of a company or brand that qualifies for this list, can you email me? I'll put the address down here. And I'm going to try to put together an alternative shopping hub, I guess, of sorts. We're soon going to be heading into the holiday season and people are going to be buying gifts for friends and family. So wouldn't it be great if in that process of gift buying, we were helping to support Christian entrepreneurs rather than woke ones? And again, not even just Christians, but just people who believe in traditional values and who believe in freedom. My instinct, to be honest, is that the Fuel Project just isn't anywhere near big enough to do anything meaningful here. I'm imagining that I'll create this page and I'll put Unitus on it and nobody else will come forward. But if that happens, then so be it. At least I'll have given Unitus a shout out, and that's a worthy cause in itself. That's reason enough to make this video. But I'm kind of a dreamer, and I think it would be great if we could eventually almost create a standalone website in the end, like a hub, like an Amazon sort of thing, perhaps, where it's only confirmed brands and you can buy with confidence from that website, knowing that all the suppliers there are pro-faith, pro-family, and pro-freedom. Maybe this already exists and I just don't know about it. If it does, then let me know about that as well. I used to be a big fan of HTC phones for this reason. Remember HTC? They've kind of fallen out of the market, but they were run by Christians. They named their components after Bible characters. They supported missionary charities with their profits. The owner, the founder, went into interviews with his Bible. So while everyone was running for Apple and Samsung phones, I was a staunch HTC supporter. I was evangelical about this for a while until they kind of fell out of the market. But I think we would all want to give our money to these kind of companies if they existed. For a little while, I had a store on the Fuel Project website and we did t-shirts and mugs and things as well, but I wasn't really able to develop it. I just don't have the time to commit to it. There are hats on there right now. I brought hats back a couple of months ago, so if you want a Fuel baseball cap, those are on there. But this is just more about trying to give other Christians and other brands and other companies a platform. I don't have a massive platform, but whatever I can do, I would want to do it. So that's basically all I wanted to say in this video. It's just a shout out to Jonathan and his Unitus brand. And wouldn't it be great if there were other companies like this? If you have a brand, then send your website to me and I'll link it from the Fuel Project website. If I can support anyone or be of help to anyone, then let me know. I think it's Giving Tuesday next week, so let me try and give you a platform to be seen. This is me trying to give to the wider Christian community. And let's try and get a few names on the list in the run up to Christmas so people have options. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about getting in the arena and just trying things, and it might not work, it might fail, but just to get in there. Well, this is me taking my own advice and just trying something, trying to help out any Christian entrepreneurs and brands who need some help getting their name out there. Again, I don't have a massive platform, but what I have, I will try and give for the benefit of the wider Christian community and for the sake of God's kingdom.